Hello, my friends. Today's date is December the 2nd, and this is a birthday reading for you if this is your birth date, or this is you can look at this for an event or an anniversary, a little more play in it. But this is primarily a birthday reading for December the 2nd, folks. This is a four-card reading. This covers the year to follow. Four cards, a general energy card for the year, a challenge you might face this year, an action you can take to stay in balance, and an outcome or synopsis card. And we'll talk more about that at the end. This is the general energy card for the year. So the warrior, a powerful year. The warrior the warrior faces death. The warrior stands on the edge of death. The warrior asks themselves, you know, is this my purpose? Am I aligned with my goal? Do I am I present? Because I need to be present to understand what is going on around me and to understand where I stand and how to fight the best and how to use myself the best in the uh, in the warriorship that I choose as my direction. And the warrior can be from a soldier or an advocate for something, all the way to the sense of a spiritual warrior, where the native peoples, their spiritual warriors were often depicted as riding backwards on a horse, meaning they trust what they're going to face. Even they don't even need to see what's going to be happening in front of them. They trust what they're going to face. And then they have a broken lance, meaning they choose to not fight anymore. They choose to not physically battle, but that does not mean that they do not mentally battle and physically work toward healing things, toward peace, rather than taking them to the ultimate edge of battleship. Sometimes battling, warriorship, is absolutely necessary in order to move through things, to protect family, to protect society, to protect self. But it's meeting what comes with meeting what is given, keeps our souls aligned with it. So this is a big card that asks you, what are you willing to rise up for? What are you willing to die for on some level? The warrior says, I'm willing to die, but the goal must be valiant, the goal must be heartfelt, I must be present for it, and I must be aligned with it, and I must understand my purpose. So what is your purpose this year? What are you really working toward? What are you willing to go to war about? And then again, peaceful warrior versus soldier warrior. There's a great uh, divide there at times, but not necessarily. The soldier can be as valiant and honoring and as deep in their sacredness as any being is. So there is that question of, do you use your warriorship for petty arguments and small situations that don't need to be fought about, that are really kind of unworthy of you? Or do you rise to the occasion, and do you find your sense of yourself in what you need to do, and pull up your power and your reserve and your courage and your fierceness, and go forward with drive and mission and presence? So, what is the challenge for you in particular? Three of Wands. So I think uh, Three of Wands. Wands are about inspiration. Threes are about some kind of creation that at some point has meant something to you. You've worked maybe with another, or you worked within yourself to bring different inspirations together to create something, a philosophy, an understanding, a grouping of maybe of people, an energy of looking at life in a particular way, but you don't feel enthused for some reason. You don't feel connected to your goal. You don't feel connected to your spirit. Maybe it's not as honestly worth fighting for as you feel like you have the willingness to fight for something. I think there's a lot of that there. I think this is asking you, what do you really care about? What do you really purposefully working toward? What really inspires you? Inspiration is about your fire, your passion, your will. What are you willing yourself to do? What do you feel passionate about doing? Is there a sacred passion that's calling you that you're avoiding? Is it on some level, it feels like almost a fear of well, I can't leave my family to go off what I need to go off and do what I need to do because I might be, you know, uh, leaving them behind. But that valiancy inside yourself that's calling you to be the soldier, to be the advocate, to be the spiritual uh, uh, advocate and the spiritual warrior is strong in you. And sometimes you need to say goodbye for a while. Sometimes you need to say, well, this is important to me, and this is important to the world as well. And I understand it causes disruption in our lives, but sometimes that is needed. And please forgive me as I pursue what Spirit is calling me to do. So, trusting Spirit, moving towards Spirit, hearing Spirit. What are your real goals? What are you really intending right now? Maybe life seems a little dull. Maybe what you've created doesn't seem as inspiring, and you don't know how much will you can put into it right now. So, what is there then? Well, that comes to the eagle. You've got to. This is your action to take. You don't got to do anything. You can be whoever and do whatever you need to do, and you'll learn your lessons. And I don't ever mean to say you've got to do anything, but this is the action that is suggested for you. Rise high. Rise high and see the greatest expanse of understanding. Look with the highest eyes to see what you can see, to understand what you can understand. Get expert opinion. Get wisdom advice. Get spirit advice. The ego is the messenger from many levels, the mind level, the conscious level, but also the intuitive level, where the ego has the insights that can come down from spirit guides and from ancestors and from others who have something, a vision to talk to you about. Maybe, maybe you can find it through the wisdom of people who've come before and are in the history books. Maybe you hear it from the birds and the animals and the creatures around you. You see what moves them, what calls to them, what spirit says to them. Maybe you're just waiting for the right message to come along, and I think that's ultimately what this is about. This is a strong time for you to listen. Listen uh, without your blinders. Listen without your blocks. Listen without your automatic saying, "I can't do that." Well, I can't do that. Well, I can't do that, or I'm not worthy of that, or I don't have the power for that. But more like, I can't change my current situation to do that. You know, some part of you is calling for you to step up and move into this powerful place, and you have to have the right vision if you're really going to, you know, risk your life and risk the life of your relationships and risk the life of your place and risk the life of your power on some level to step forward in a bigger way, in a more united way with a sacred vision and a sacred society. Then you have to know what that vision is. And this eagle is what says, listen for the vision. It'll come to you in some form: a teacher, a healer, a guide, a presence, a message, a dream that comes to you, a daydream that comes to you, a vision that comes to you while you're in the middle of the desert, while you're fasting, while you're praying, while you're doing a Sundance. Sundance eagle. Ultimately, the Sundance is for Lakota peoples and Plains peoples, connecting with the higher vision of self and saying, what am I really fighting for? What am I really worthy of fighting for? And what really, speaks to my spirit and doesn't just speak to my want to have fame or money or power. It's that rising above those smaller kind of dimensions of self that Sundances and spirits and eagles talk to us about. Go into your fullness of your being and your fullness of your humanitarian understanding. And this is the outcome card. Great deal of healing of old, I want to say almost ancestral wounds, but they're your wounds. They're inside of you. There's some old pains that say, no, you I think on some level you're not strong enough to do that, and some old condemnations that others have thrown at you that you have chosen to believe on some level. It's hard to uh, get away from the negativities that people throw at us, and particularly our parents or our family or our close friends as we're growing up and we're learning about what it means to be with other people. Something old might have really colored your fear of stepping into your power, your fear of stepping up into your courage, your fear of stepping up into your warriorship. But this is a time of healing something old in that level, and you're going to get to look at that deeply, and you're going to get look to heal that, because ultimately the ultimate warrior is one who defeats their own negativity. It's to defeat your own negativity. The ultimate warrior is to defeat your own negativity, your own pains that you do not need to believe in, your own uh, self denigrations that just knock you down when you really are a strong being, a vibrant being, a sacred being, and you have the power to move forward. So, this is about healing those old things that have stopped you from being the warrior that you really are, and showing yourself to the world as someone who gives back to the world in a strong way and in an authentic way. Home Mitakuyasin. May you find your authentic warrior and your authentic purpose this year. Ho.